Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Choda and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Thank you so much for being a viewer and a subscriber of this channel. The Ignition Time channel is about the country, the economy, as well as your money. Nothing is going to impact the balance of power and essentially the work of the United States Senate more than the filibuster. Even though we have 50 Democratic senators and we have 50 Republican senators, the filibuster is something that can be used by the minority party to essentially block legislative actions. In other words, if there's a bill that the Democrats want and they have the support, a single Republican senator can just get on the floor of the Senate, speak for 10 straight hours, and for him or her to stop speaking. This is just an example. By the way, there was one Republican senator who spoke for 10 straight hours back in 2010, and that senator is Rand Paul from Kentucky. So for this senator, for the filibuster to be ended, 60 senators have to say, okay, stop it. 3/5 of the United States Senate needs to get on board in order to be able to go past that legislative block, if you will. And so the filibuster is a headache for the majority party, and it is essentially the last remnant of power for the minority party. And in this highly divisive climate that we are in, extremely divisive climate that we are in, the filibuster is essentially the last vestige of power for the minority party. The Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell had some very strong comments about this on the floor of the Senate in the past 24 hours. McConnell painted a one-party vision of America, and he essentially pictured America in the vision of the Republicans, and he said past problems would seem like child's play in a post-nuclear Senate. His words. This is a pretty dire warning from the Senate Minority Leader about what will happen if the Democrats decide to end the filibuster. And he said the Senate would be like a 100-car pileup. Nothing would be moving. In some pretty strong comments, the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell warns about future disaster in the Senate, and again saying that past problems would be child's play in a post-nuclear Senate. Pretty incredible comments. I'm wondering who his speechwriter is, because boy, oh boy, these are some very strong comments that I think every single person should watch, because this will impact the future of all government in our country. Let's roll the tape and hear from Mitch McConnell. It's very important. Let's watch.
So, Mr. President, I want our colleagues to imagine a world where every single task, every one of them, requires a physical quorum, which, by the way, the Vice President does not count in determining a quorum. Everything that Democrat Senates did to Presidents Bush and Trump, everything the Republican Senate did to President Obama, would be child's play compared to the disaster that Democrats would create for their own priorities if they break the Senate. So this is not a trade-off between trampling etiquette but then getting to quickly transform the country. That's a false choice. Even the most basic aspects of our colleagues' agenda, the most mundane task of the Biden presidency, would actually be harder, not easier, for Democrats in a post-nuclear Senate that is 50-50, dead even. If the Democrats break the rules to kill Rule 22 on a 50-50 basis, then we will use every other rule to make tens of millions of Americans' voices heard. Perhaps the majority would come after the other rules next. Perhaps Rule 22 would just be the first domino of many, until the Senate ceased to be distinct from the House in any respect. This chaos would not open up an express lane to liberal change. It would not open up an express lane for the Biden presidency to speed into the history books. The Senate would be more like a 100-car pileup. Nothing moving.
And if you thought that was interesting, I thought the next segment was even more interesting and eye-opening. He said that common sense Republican priorities are more important than essentially the wish list items of the Democrats who now hold chairpersons positions in the United States Senate and also in the House of Representatives, because the Democrats have that majority. He said The public wants common sense Republican ideologies. He said the pendulum swings both ways in a dire warning about what will happen if the Democrats decide to end the filibuster. He said the pendulum swings both ways and it swings hard. He also said that he personally resisted pressure from a former president who likes to tweet a lot. I don't know who that is. Maybe you know who that is. He said he resisted pressure from a former president to end the filibuster when the Republicans were in control of the Senate. And he said that the bipartisan majority should put principle first and keep the Senate safe. In other words, he said when enough Republicans and Democrats get together to have a bipartisan majority, this would put principle first and this would essentially keep the Senate safe. Very interesting comments from the Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, who ironically is the reason that the Democrats want to end the filibuster, because they felt that he used the filibuster to create, in the words of Dick Durbin, the number 2 senator in the United States Senate from the Democrat side from Illinois, because the number 1 senator is the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. He said that there was a legislative graveyard in the Senate because of the person you're about to see now, the current Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell says touching the hot stove again will yield the same result, and he outlines a one-party vision for America. Incredible, and unbelievable stuff. I want you to decide where you stand with this, but let's watch this. And I recommend that we listen carefully to the words of Mitch McConnell. And I want you to let me know in the comment section below whether you agree or disagree. Let's roll the tape and hear from Mitch McConnell.
And then there's the small matter that majorities are actually never permanent. The last time a Democratic leader was trying to start a nuclear exchange, I remember offering a warning. I said my colleagues would regret it a lot sooner than they thought. And just a few years and a few Supreme Court vacancies later, many of our Democratic colleagues said publicly that they did. Touching the hot stove again would yield the same result, but even more dramatic. As soon as Republicans wound up back in the saddle, we wouldn't just erase every liberal change that hurt the country. We'd strengthen America with all kinds of conservative policies with zero input from the other side. How about this? Nationwide right to work for working Americans. Defunding Planned Parenthood in sanctuary cities on day one. A whole new era of domestic energy production. Sweeping new protections for conscience and the right to life of the unborn. Concealed carry reciprocity in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. Massive hardening of security on our southern border. We saw during amendment votes just days ago that some common sense Republican positions actually enjoy more support right now than some of the Democratic committee chairs' priorities. And this is with them in the majority. So the pendulum, Mr. President, would swing both ways, and it would swing hard. My colleagues and I have refused to kill the Senate for instant gratification. In 2017 and 2018, I was lobbied to do exactly what Democrats want to do now. A sitting president leaned on me to do it. He tweeted about it. What did I do, Mr. President? I said to the president at that time, no. I said no repeatedly, because becoming a U.S. Senator comes with higher duties than steamrolling any obstacle to short-term power. I meant it. Republicans meant it. Less than 2 months ago, 2 of our Democratic colleagues said they mean it too. If they keep their word, we have a bipartisan majority that can put principle first and keep the Senate safe. I suggest the absent quorum.
That's it, everyone. A dire warning, a stark warning about a one-party vision for America and past problems being like child's play in a post-nuclear Senate, and a warning about a 100-car pileup in the United States Senate and complete gridlock, a complete standstill for future legislative achievements if the filibusters ended. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Choda. I really appreciate you. Like I mentioned before, I know that the Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, there he is. He clicks the like button. The Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, he clicks the like button as well. In fact, I know for a fact that they actually shake hands after they watch my video and they say, yeah, we should be bipartisan because we learned it from Ignition Time. And then as they're shaking hands, they kind of use their other hand to click the like button. I've actually seen them do that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to try not to smile and not to laugh when I make these bad jokes towards the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.